G'day guys, Aiden from Club 4x4 here. Today I'm going to be covering a review of an item called a Cel-Fi. Some of you will have heard of it, but for anyone that hasn't, it's basically a device that is installed in your car, and what it does is it amplifies the available mobile signal strength so that you can get mobile reception in more places. Now, the model we're testing is a Cel-Fi GO. It's attached to the Telstra network, which we figure most people that are travelling would likely connect to, given the geographic coverage that it has. We actually purchased the trucker pack, which includes this black antenna here, external, and then you also get the Cel-Fi repeater itself, as well as an internal antenna, which sends out the increased mobile signal. Now, the Cel-Fi itself amplifies the signal within the car. So if you open a door, you can get signal a little bit further outside, but it's actually only designed to amplify the signal while you're in the car or in close proximity to it. So just to clarify expectations, you're not going to be able to go to a campsite and improve coverage for everybody at the campsite. But if you're within a few meters of the car, and particularly with the doors open, you'll definitely see an effect. Now, the challenge that we had after installing the Cel-Fi was wondering how we could actually test it to determine the value that it would provide and give you an idea of what sort of coverage increase you'd get with this item. And the reason that's important is because the Cel-Fi itself costs over $1,200 for a kit. So it's not a cheap accessory to put on your car, and that price does not include installation. So you're also up for an additional installation cost, which realistically you want to have someone who's qualified install, because it's not something that you want to have working incorrectly in the car, and it's not something you want to not have wired up properly, because it could potentially create significant drain on the battery. Anyway, we're about to go out driving, and while we're out and about, I'm going to do a test. Basically, we've identified a nice long stretch of road up near the Lithgow area where mobile reception is very poor. We're going to do the test by driving along and stopping every 500 metres along that road, and we're going to do a test to see what sort of cell reception we get with mobile phone alone, and then we will turn on the Cel-Fi device, wait for it to crank up, and then actually have a look at the improvement that we get. And then we'll map that to sort of give you an indication in what, according to Telstra, is a very low reception area increase that you can expect. G'day. We're now down on Walgan Road heading out towards Nunes, and we're just starting the test for the Cel-Fi. So this is the first location we've pulled over at. We have 1 bar of 4G reception on the phone without Cel-Fi on. So I'm just about to turn Cel-Fi on, and I'll let you know how we go. Okay, the Cel-Fi has started up, and we've now jumped from 1 bar to 3 bars. So we're going to continue on down on the road and see what happens. Alright, we're now about 500 metres further down the road, and this time we have 2 bars of 4G. And now that the Cel-Fi started, we've got 4 bars. Alright, we're now at our third location. We were back to 1 bar 4G. We've just turned on the Cel-Fi, and given the performance so far, I'm expecting that we'll see that reception jump up from 1 bar to 3. Alright, this time it's only jumped up to 2, given we're getting a little bit further away from things. Alright, this time we have gone from 1 bar 4G to 4 bar 4G. Alright, we're at our next spot, and this time we have dropped to 1 bar of 3G. Alright, interestingly, we've had the Cel-Fi come on and a 3G connection, which we had 1 bar according to the phone before. We've maintained 1 bar despite the 3G changing. I suspect that part of this may be related to the fact that we've been running on a 4G network instead of 3G, so we might actually be right out on the limit of the 3G network. G'day. We went down into the Walgan Valley and lost all signal, which basically then meant that the Cel-Fi lost the ability to pick up or amplify anything, and it it unfortunately didn't do anything. So I think the big learning is if there's absolutely no signal anywhere, then unfortunately the Cel-Fi is not going to be of use. However, I'm now at the entrance to a track that we were on probably a couple of months ago, where I previously had no signal, and I now have 1 bar of signal. So I'm pretty confident. I'm about to try and make a call, and I'm confident that the booster will allow me to make a call in a place that I otherwise wouldn't. And I would have been at least 2 or 3 kilometres up the road to get a signal back a few months ago when we didn't have the cell.